Hello and welcome to the very first podcast series on Let's Talk Energy. I'm your host, Lisa Richard, owner of Loving Energy Recharge, and I'm here with this very first episode, sitting with my husband, Tony, my biggest fan, my champion, and my soulmate on this journey as I have stepped up to become a healer, as I have gone through a major transformation over the last couple years, and I'm sure having gone by my side and watching all of these transformations occurring, it's probably been a little bit of a whirlwind journey for my husband. So we're getting real on this podcast. We want to share with you guys a little bit about our relationship. I want to hear from a man's perspective, my husband's perspective of what is going through your mind. Here you have a wife that is an executive assistant in a post-secondary institute. We moved to Vancouver Island. We have this whirlwind journey of leaving a hometown. Our kids have just left the home. We've moved. We settle into a whole new area. Now all of a sudden I have quit the mainstream world. I have left behind a job where I was pulling in a very good income to say, I want to work as a spiritual healer. I want to work with energy. I am reading cards, I am working with animals. I am not the same wife that you fell in love with 24 years ago. We are coming up on our 25th anniversary this summer, and it has been a bit of a journey. So Tony, this is your opportunity to share a little bit about what has it been like for you over the last 2 years, watching your wife go through this crazy carpet ride.
Well, I would say, no, it's been good. And I support that. And you're branching out on your own, you're doing what you love, so why not support that? You got one life to live it to the max, rather than just keep going in a rut till we're 60 years old, 65 years old, to end up with what? I don't know. You're a lot happier, that's for darn sure. So that's what I get out of it. That's what I love about it. That's what life's about, is finding your next adventure and living it. You know, like I say, we could work every day till we're 65. And for what? Just to sit around after that and hopefully we have enough money? That's life. That's the problem with humans. We need money. So, in order to do things and have things, you gotta do it. But you gotta take risks. You can't expect to work a job and be rich at the end. You have to do a little bit of extra work.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. There's never any guarantees with life. And, you know, we had very stable, very guaranteed jobs and incomes where we knew and we could count on certain incomes coming through, certain amounts of holidays, certain benefits. That was a huge risk to walk away from all of that. And to know that you were supporting that journey of, you know what, all the responsibilities of the household are now going back on your shoulders, giving me the space that I needed to travel into this unknown world, to open up this whole door of spirituality, of talking to spirit, of connecting with angels, of feeling and sensing all of these things that I have known for years, but was honestly in denial of ever sharing with you. As my husband, these were areas where I was afraid to disclose and let down those walls to be vulnerable enough, afraid that, you know, the relationship would change, that you would think that I was crazy. And I remember when we first came to Vancouver Island, we came on a journey to look at some housing for our oldest daughter. She was looking at post-secondary institutions at that time, had her eyes set on Vancouver Island University, and just wanted to look at some student housing. So Tony and I had come over to the island and we were looking at little apartments for our daughter, thinking that this was a great investment opportunity to get into. Lo and behold, that whole whirlwind of a trip had us eventually looking at some houses and considering, well, maybe we want to move here instead. Maybe we're at that time in our life where we can just leave everything behind, we can start fresh, and we can go. And I remember that weekend very clearly when we came down here, because there were so many signs and synchronicities that just fell into place.
Oh, yeah, the biggest sign was sitting in the Royal LePage realtor's office. And there was that picture of some lady, of someone's office, but it was my mom. It looked exactly like my mom. I even pointed that out to you, remember? Because I said, that's mom. And she's smiling, she's grinning, telling us we're doing the right thing. And that was confirmation for me. That was, it was an uncanny picture. It's like everything. So that was securely a spiritual message. So it made things a lot easier.
Yeah, and that was the first time that we ever chatted about the whole issue of spirituality. And, I remember walking down by the marina, down by Comox Harbor, and going around the corner, and there was this beautiful boat. And I had looked out and I said to my husband, I said, oh, look, there is Callisto. And Callisto is my beautiful mother-in-law's father's name, who has passed over as well. And I remember looking over at Tony, and you looked at me and you said, you're going to think that I'm crazy. Meanwhile, I'm thinking in my head, really? I'm going to think that you're crazy? I've kept all this stuff inside of me for many, many years. But that is where you shared with me that journey, that experience you had in the realtor's office of seeing your mom in this photo and knowing and hearing the messages.
Yeah, listening. Not being so closed-minded, just opening your mind, and coincidence or not coincidences, they're there for a reason. But accepting the reasons, accepting the coincidence is real. Like when you said, look at that boat, that's Callisto. You were shocked when I said, that's my grandpa's name. So there was sign number 2 is this instantaneously. It's kind of a, you say, ooh, what a coincidence. No, not really. Not now. I don't believe in coincidence anymore. At one time, maybe it did. But it's just the universe, or whatever you want to call it. Just giving us signs that we are going in the right direction. It's just a matter of us stopping and listening. Opening our ears and opening our eyes, and making sure that we're going in the right way. Guidance. There's
yeah.
so much guidance. It's ridiculous how neat everything fell into place like that. Even though as humans we want to be comfortable, and those little signs give us that comfort. It's just a matter if we accept them or not. Acknowledge them.
The beautiful message that spirit is always around, and we've lost loved ones prior to I call her my mother-in-law, my mother-in-law. Prior to her passing, we lost our beautiful niece, Nicole. And I remember that incident very clearly as well. Tony and I were out having a walk, and in a split second, we had a phone call that changed our lives. And it was devastating to know that, the heart can break in such a way that is almost inconceivable to bear. But in the same breath, it also shows you of how much love the body is capable of. And that beautiful niece, in her passing, there was so many of us in the family that we heard the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow. We all had the same memory the night prior to the funeral. There were so many signs and blessings of appearing to multiple members in the form of a ladybug, in flowers, in rainbows, in music, and just always saying, I'm here. You can't see me in physical form, but I'm around, I'm here. And then when the mother-in-law passed, your mom passed, then it was the beautiful butterflies. And again, it was those conversations of, my heart is hurting, my heart is breaking, but I know spirit is here. I know they're guiding me. I know they're around me. I know they're encouraging me to live life to the fullest. So to circle back and come and take a look at the island again and that whole move here, and to just know beyond know of trusting in seeing her in a photograph in the realtor's office, seeing the grandfather's name on the boat, seeing all these different signs and synchronicities, We have 3 girls. 2 of our daughters were coming with us. They sold their vehicles at just the right time to move. The house sold at just the right time. Kids got into university at just the right time. Everything just kind of fell into place because we were listening and because we were willing to trust in the guidance that was beyond us and take a risk. Taking a risk was a big thing, especially for you, because you were in our previous town for 43 years.
Yeah, 46 years. With all my friends, my close friends, who, that was a risk, losing my friends. We text every day, the 5 of us. So, and it's just like, that's when you don't have good friends, in my opinion, is you can text every day and it just seems like you talked the next day or yesterday. But that's the trust, is, you can move on and the people you love are supporting you regardless of what you do. And that's a lot of trust right there as well, which I thoroughly enjoy, I guess. Yeah. That. So it's kind of neat.
It's nice to, you followed your heart. You knew that it was the time to move. The signs were all in the wall that this was right. It felt good. It was a beautiful area. And you're right. You have those relationships in your life, those good friends. They're going to love you and follow you no matter what. And it's going to open up doors for new friendships, new possibilities. I've been gifted with the same blessing of having some really close lifetime friends that we can still pick up over those conversations, those text messages. Pre-COVID times, there was a lot of visitors here to our house on the island. I feel that that'll come again in the future when we are allowed to visit again. But in trusting the heart and just going with the whole flow of, let's take a risk. Let's trust in the universe. Let's trust in the guidance. Let's go under this big whirlwind opportunity where we are trying something brand new and we are setting off as a couple to do something for us. That the kids are leaving the house and now it's something for us.
Mm-hmm. And we're expanding on it. People are watching us, and I think we've set a little flame under some other people that said, okay, if they can do it, we can do it. And that's totally true. We can do it. Anybody can do it. It's just a matter of trusting and doing it, getting the work done. Without work, nothing gets done. You can sit around and do nothing. Nothing will happen. But if you do something about it, everything will happen. And that's the beauty about believing in yourself and trusting in the next step, faith, and everything will fall into place. And it did. It was amazing how, they say, we sold the house, we moved here, we just, I went to a 2 and 2 at work, so it made it a little less travel for me, and it just worked out perfect. It's just kind of uncanny in some ways, but how much happier. I don't know if we'll ever move from here because it's so nice. It amazed me how big my world opened up. After 46 years in the same 7,000 population, town, where if you wanted to do something, you went to Edmonton. Because it was a 2.5 hour drive to get there. You were in the middle of nowheres. But yet now we're in a city of 60,000 people, or we could be in Vancouver in 2 hours, or in Victoria in 2.5 hours. We can do whatever we want. The weather permits everything, so that's beautiful. And just the opportunities of outdoor life. That's also what we wanted. We wanted more outdoor activities, and with better weather, of course. You didn't, all winter long. We didn't have all the high-priced toys, the sleds and all that other stuff to get out and do the things you can do in Slave. But here you don't need that stuff. It's all here. It's here as well. That's the thing, is if you want to, you can go sledding here, we can go skiing here, surfing, scuba diving, whatever we want. The whole world opened up. It was amazing. And can't put a price on that for sure.
No, there's so much to be said about having that healthy lifestyle, and I know we talked about that for years, because we certainly went through many periods of our life and our journey where, you know, we're both working really, really long hours. We have kids that are active in extracurricular activities. So you'd get home at the end of the night, you'd be tired, and you'd plop in front of the TV, you'd grab a snack, and that was your existence. You would work, come home, watch TV, go to bed. Work, come home, watch TV, go to bed. And we used to stare at each other going, you know, there's got to be more to life than this. I don't want to be old. I don't want to be just sitting in front of the TV complaining about my aches and pains and saying this is life. So we knew that we wanted more for ourselves. We knew that we wanted to come somewhere where we would get more active. And we certainly have. I think we watch, you know.
Oh, we don't have TV anymore.
We don't have TV anymore.
We got this big TV that's like a paperweight.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's all it is. So yeah, and even Netflix, I don't know if you'd be,
Yeah, I think the Netflix, the subscription just expired the other day, and honestly, I'm not too worried about renewing it because we can get out the front door and we can go find a waterfall, we can go find a hiking trail, we can go anywhere within our hometown and just connect with nature.
And these are all things we didn't know were here when we bought the house. This was all found afterwards. Except for Nymphs Falls, we knew that, but everyone goes to Nymphs. It's beautiful there, but yeah, like things, it's like an onion that kept on, the layers were peeling off, and just kind of more and more and more and more. Now I got people wanting to come visit me to experience this wonderful, magical place I call Vancouver Island, but it is exactly that. But it's kind of a very neat place to be. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, there's not too many days that go by where we're not in awe of something that we found or discovered it in our backyard. But I think the draw to that is we are actively out looking for it. We're not waiting for things to come to us. We're not waiting for people to call us and encourage us to go out. We're making the constant choice of let's go outside, let's travel a new path through a different neighborhood to go see what's there. Let's go take a look and discover that trail. Let's grab a picnic lunch and let's just try something new. It's the willingness to always discover and try something new.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, when we're trying, it comes with frustration too, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like, very frustrating, like just driving around. Even though that's exciting, you don't know where you're driving, but you get frustrated because you get lost in a tiny city. So eventually, you figure it out. You know what roads go where. It just comes. You know, you just got to work at it and experience it. That's just life, I guess. But yeah, getting, that was, to me, because I like to drive. I like to drive around, cruise, experience things. That's one of my getaways. And yeah, it's kind of cool. Like, you get lost in the middle of nowhere. Now it's kind of hard to get lost now after almost 3 years, but it is frustrating. You just gotta put a handle on it and know you're going to get through it. Know you're going to find your way home. You always do. And you just don't worry too much about it. Simple things like that. Just yeah, it is so wonderful.
Yeah, and I imagine it's a totally different experience having always lived in one place for the majority of your life and then coming somewhere totally new. Mm-hmm. You kind of do lose that little place of home. And, whereas for me, I grew up and we did relocate many, many times as a child. So I had a lot more opportunities to adjust, to start again, and to experience what it was like to start over. But this was your first time ever having to face that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I didn't go to school. I just went. I guess the longest way I was home was when I went to New Mexico for 3 months, and that was about it. And really, that was just like an extended vacation. When I was lost, I didn't know what to do because I lost a very good job because of too many demerits on the license for stunting with the car and showing off for the girls, right? So yeah, so that was a lesson learned, and so I just came back and went to work, and that's just what you do when you're that age, right? So You just go to work. That's what I did. You didn't think about the future because that's what school doesn't teach you. Like I said, watch that Elon Musk thing, and that's what he said. Schools don't teach you the whys. Life teaches you the whys, but you need experience to get to each of those questions to get answered. The why. Now that I'm older and more mature, tons of whys have been explained, and now I kind of get it why I want to speed up, what I'm interested in and everything like that. I got a lot of that ambition answered, I guess. But that only comes with time and experience. It'd be nice as a young person to figure that out, but this world, that's the thing, is moving here, it opened up the world. This world is so huge. It is overwhelming by the choices, especially in the free country that we live in. And that's overwhelming. But you gotta, I don't want to say you gotta hurry up and find what you like, because you don't know. One day you'll be coming down the street and you get slapped in the face with what you like. You just don't know. And that's what's interesting.
Life is an adventure.
It always is.
Yeah, it's all about being able to try new things and being okay with failure. Because life hasn't always been easy. We've had many opportunities to learn lessons over and over and over again, but we've never given up. We've always tried different ways, and I think you and I have always sat down and we've done a lot of dream building, not just for us, but with our children. We always talked about the future of things that we wanted to see, and not just talked about it, but we took the action steps towards making things become a reality. So if we talked about a family holiday, and we knew we wanted to take our kids to Disney World. That was a dream that we wanted to experience for ourselves, probably as much as we wanted to take our kids there. But we saved for many, many years, knowing that that was a plan, having established a budget. We took the effort to put money aside every month consistently for a very long time. And that meant that we weren't buying some of the other toys that our social group had, or going out to eat dinner as many times, or buying the alcohol, or doing all those things that, it'd be easy to want to join everybody else and spend the money. But we had this longer term goal of this holiday that was super important to us for the experience. We talked it over, we committed to it, and we didn't give up on that.
No. Yeah, that was our most expensive holiday by far, but I'd go tomorrow to Disney World. That was probably the most memorable for me. We've been to Mexico how many times, right? But yeah, that trip was probably the best. We went at the right ages for the girls, right? So I'll experience that, but it's choices. You hit it right on the nail on the head when you said we didn't have all the quads and sleds and everything else everybody had, but instead we had experiences.
We had memories, yeah, and the girls talk about those memories all the time, and we talk about those memories all the time. And when you think of it in terms of energy, as an emotion code practitioner, energy to me is in the form of how you feel. And looking back at those pictures or talking to our children about those experiences, the energy is of such joy and such magic and such awe. To me, that has far greater value than any material object could have ever brought into our lives. We weren't financially able to compete with the Joneses, nor did we ever have a desire to want to jump in and be like the Joneses. We weren't going to fall for that.
Yeah, I never was like that. I never wanted to be like the Joneses. I wanted to be like myself, and that's who I was. That's why I have a very, very small group of friends. It wasn't, the whole community. The whole town was acquaintances. Being there for that many years, I knew everybody knew me, but that was half the thing, though. Everybody expected me to be who they thought I was. And that's what was kind of cool moving to Courtney, was I could just be whoever I wanted, rather than here was Tony that, he was one of the face in the crowd that, he was a quiet guy, nice, super hard worker, whatever. But, I was never the center of attention by any means. So, yeah, that was another thing, too.
The freedom to be you.
The freedom, just because now we're in a big city, everybody is... It's even though cities can be lonely because, nobody pays attention to each other. You're just another, like you say, another face in the crowd in the city. But, so it can be just be you. You don't have to be that certain looking face in the crowd that everyone expects you to be. So that was a nice relief, I guess.
Yeah, that was a beautiful opportunity, and I agreed to come here and almost discover who we were, because for so many years of our lives, everybody expected us to be who we represented in our jobs. For you, it was growing up in the community. For me, it was in my work. And it was really hard to just go out and let those masks down and just be yourself. Nor could I remember who I was, because I was so caught up in being my children's mother, your wife, the career woman. I didn't know who Lisa was. But coming here, it was a beautiful journey of peeling back all those layers and discovering, Lisa's somebody who likes to get out in nature. She likes to see the waterfall. She loves the plants and the animals. She loves the magic. She loves the experience. She loves spending time with her husband. She loves the fresh air, the sunshine, the oceans, the mountain, the whole opportunity to just breathe, to just slow down and breathe.
Yeah. Well, that also came with being empty nesters as well, right? All
Absolutely.
of that just came like a big flood, big rush. We got, the kids, they're adults. They got to that age where, they just did their own thing and they were on their own, so yeah, we didn't have to look after them all anymore. So time, we got our time back, I guess you could say. To some degree, we got our time back, yeah. And we're getting more time, like lots of time now, but time to chase our dreams and support each other.
Yeah, time to chase the dreams and support each other and to show our children what it's like to take risks, but in the contents of following your heart. So doing those things that are meaningful to you. And we used to tell our kids that, you can do anything that you want to do, but you have to be willing to put in the work to achieve that. Mm-hmm. You have to be willing to go to school if that's a requirement, to dig in deep and get the grades, apply yourself to your studies. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Make those choices that are in alignment for your best interest. Make your own decisions, not let somebody else talk you into doing something a totally different way because that's what they want you to do or who they want you to become.
Yeah.
So I think we've really influenced our children by honoring ourselves and showing to so many people, including us, that, oh my goodness, we can take these incredible risks and just totally change our lifestyle, our locations. For me, it was my job. I gave up a very successful career to step into this line of work, to step into becoming an energy healer.
Yeah.
And that was so different than working in post-secondary, working as an executive assistant. But life has these beautiful opportunities to allow you to open your heart.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of neat. That's the things, like you say, you can't tell people what to do. You can show them. And that's what we did with our kids. I say that, I tease them, I say, I cut the cord, 25, 23, and 21 years ago. And now it's up to you to take the next breath, and what you do with it is up to you. But they're always watching us. We're guidance. Just like my parents guided us, and your parents and grandparents, and, guided. But to sit around and say, this is what you should do, and then not do anything, to show them what to do, that's not right. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. we're doing it for ourselves mostly, but you see the kids are listening, they're watching, they're seeing that mom and dad can do it. Well, if mom and dad can do it, then that comfortability spectrum gets bigger for them. So, well, if they can do it, then yeah, let's just push it a little bit more. They see how hard we're working. They understand it. You know, nothing's given to us, and we're not giving a lot to them. You know, we saved. You know, they did get a little bit of a boost compared to what we had. You know, with education funds, but we started that when they were tiny kids, and that helped a huge bunch. It made a big difference, in fact. Little things like that. So they had a little step ahead, but nowadays you need that. It's almost like if you want to get ahead, you need a little bit of a leg up, but they had to work for it. There was rules and there were regulations, but for them to get that stuff, right? So yeah. It was kind of a neat push.
You know, and we were so far from perfect. We were young parents. I was 18 years old when our first child was born. I met Tony and I had just turned 16. We got married. We had our first baby. I was 18. You were 21? 23. Oh, I'm gonna make you younger.
Oh,
you were,
sorry, 22.
Oh, you were okay. 22. We're gonna meet in the middle there. So you were 22 years old. We were young, super young. And you know, and we have those conversations with our children now about following your heart and your dreams and being authentic to you. But the reality in the majority of their upbringing was life was very structured. As a young mom and a scared mom, I know for a fact that I had a lot of rules for the children. I expected them to go to bed at a certain time, to get up at a certain time, to behave a certain way. Things that I was also led to believe growing up as well. You have all these fear stories as a parent, and you're so worried about everybody else judging you to be a competent parent, a good enough parent. Sometimes it was really hard to enjoy those younger years. Whereas now that we can have some opportunities to kind of take a breath, we can have those conversations with our child and our children. And, you know, and I've had some talks with my oldest daughter, and I've said, you know what, you're kind of like the guinea pig child, because having you that young, you are kind of testing the waters to figure out, well, how do I even become a parent, doing the best that you can. But life for her was certainly different than life was for her sisters, because as you learn, you do better, you get more comfortable, and that's like anything you do in life. You have to keep trying, you have to be willing to fail a few times, you have to not condemn yourself for not getting everything perfect, and you have to be able to take a step back and breathe and look at the journey with some grace and some compassion for yourself, to be like, you know what, I did the best that I could at that time in my life, just like my parents did the best they could with the resources that they had, with the support they had, their parents the same way. I mean, we look back at all of our generational stories and, oh my goodness, we could be crying victim stories for many years, and I certainly did that. I did that for myself for many years, going through those periods of time, right, where you're just honestly tired and you're looking to blame somebody. And I know our children have done that for us. That is the cycle of life, and we'd be very naive to say that, you know, anybody is ever perfect and nobody's pointing a finger and going, you did this to me, or you did this wrong, or you were unfair.
Yeah.
But to have conversations and to kind of laugh at some of that stuff now, going, oh my goodness, could you imagine being 18 and having a child and having to go through losing your friends, your social group because you're so young, and having a single income and we made a living off of $1,200 a month.
Yeah.
But we did it, and we were happy, and we made choices to put food on the table, put diapers on the baby, not drink.
Yeah, well, that was a big thing, is pride in, you know, providing for your family. I was always driven in. You know, like say, mom and dad, 5 kids. You know, I'm third one of 5 kids, so yeah, they didn't have any extra money. So, you know, so from what I saw, we were doing good. Like, we had, a couple extra dollars at the end of the month, where mom and dad didn't have any, because you're trying to feed 5 kids and put clothes on. That was super tough. But that's the thing, is the decisions. You might look back now. I never do that. I vowed to myself, I never do that. Regretting the decisions I made in the past, because I made that decision with the best knowledge and the best what I knew at that point. Because I wouldn't, if I knew more when I made a decision, I would have made a different decision. So that's why you can't go back in life and regret saying, oh, I did a poor decision. But at that point in time, everything that you knew was true guided that decision. Like, that's what you're saying, right? Is no regrets. You can't have regrets, because now we can look back and go, oh, I would have made that decision different. Well, I didn't know what I knew. I didn't know what I knew then, what I know now. So, but we did very well. I think we did extremely well to get us to here. And the best part is, it's only starting. Like, our lives are only starting. Like, for abundance and whatever we want, we can still make a better decision to make a better life. Now's the time to choose. Now's the time to take a risk. Now's the time to do what you've always wanted to do. All right. I'm 48 years old. I feel, some days I feel old, thinking, oh, okay, I only got 15 years to go before I retire. I better do something. Or I got 15 years to retire. Go ahead and take more risks, because I got more time to rebound from a failed mission. I failed a lot. Honestly, if you think about it, how many times did we fail, or I failed? Like the fire extinguisher company didn't work. The bank machine, the cash machine, well, that kind of worked, but we ended up selling it. And I tried running that little steamer unit. That didn't work. And I ran a successful oil field company. That's still going. So, but look where it ended up, into an oyster farm. Mm-hmm. Like, how does that happen? How does all that happen, right? It's amazing, and then becoming a power engineer on the way up too, right? Because I worked at it. I made a decision to go to school and get that stuff. I made a decision to keep investing our money, right? So, and growing. I could have made it, I could have taken that oyster farm's paid for. I could have taken that money and bought a 2-seater Porsche, like, honestly, and just drove it around. But what a waste of money that would be. So, to me, that's my decision. Until then, who knows, right? I just know that this world has more to offer, and it has a lot more to give. And I don't know, some people call it greedy, but I want more. I don't want to just be okay with the average. Because I know when we met, I still remember to this day, I told you I'm going to be a millionaire. Don't know how, but I'm going to be a millionaire. I've said that. And I always thought that was attracted you. I wasn't sure if you remember that or not, but I always knew that. But I'm not a millionaire now, but I will be. Don't know when, don't know how, but I will be.
Yeah, I think you won me over by your baby blue eyes, and you just kind of drown in your eyes in that sincerity. And what a beautiful relationship and journey it has been, and still so many more years to look forward to. But I think, all of our listeners to this podcast are hearing the truth in the story for themselves. The opportunity to, it's okay to fail and get up and just keep trying again and having experience. That's the joy, is experiencing. Because how do you know if you like something or you don't like something unless you try it? And I love how you said you never look into the past because you made the best decisions that you could at the time. And if you would have known differently, you would have done differently. But you didn't. So you're not living in the past anymore. You're looking ahead, you're taking your knowledge, and you're always forward thinking. And that is one of the things that I absolutely love about you, is that ability to dream and always think so big. You create this beautiful world where, I could never dream that big for myself, but I have you in my life creating these bigger pictures of, what else? What if you thought beyond those limitations? So as a spouse and as a partner walking this journey with me, that ability to know that you are so supported, to open your eyes, to have somebody walk the path with you. And quite frankly, this is a path that has been unknown for both of us for the last couple years as I've stepped into this work. Half the time we don't know what the next day is going to bring. It's just this life of kind of going with the flow and the awe of creating, of channeling, of flowing with the guidance. And trusting in the energy, trusting the spirituality, trusting that your wife is not crazy because she's talking to spirit, she's having conversations with those that have passed over. But just trusting and knowing that there is so much more to life than us. And to keep that open mind, to keep that forward thinking, to keep having risk, to keep just living, to wanting better for yourself, to knowing that you want to be a millionaire, you're wanting abundance, you want to have all these beautiful things. And those are things that are available to all of us. We just have to believe, we have to work for it, we have to know that we deserve to have that in our lives.
We have that opportunity where we live. It's amazing. We take it for granted for this capitalist society that we live in, right? But, I've said it 1,000 times, how do you climb the mountain? It's one step at a time. Because you can sit at the base, look up and cry and whine and wait for some Sherpa to come carry you, but that's not going to happen. So, you got to do it yourself, no matter what. Find a way.
Yeah, you got to do it yourself no matter what, so find that way. That is beautiful. So we are going to end this first podcast with that thought to all of our listeners. And know that you can go out there, you can dream big, you can do the work it's going to take to achieve those goals, and don't give up. Any parting words, Tony, that you want to leave with the audience?
Well, if you quit, you failed. But it doesn't mean you can't start again tomorrow. If you keep quitting, keep starting. And you'll never fail, I guess.
That is beautiful. There you go, folks. You've heard it from the man. He is my soulmate. He is my partner in this beautiful journey of life. This is the first podcast of Let's Talk Energy. And I hope that there's many, many more to come, many more opportunities for these real conversations. And this is life. It's as simple as that. This is life. We are not perfect. We are average, everyday people, living a dream, learning through the experience, and not giving up.